Hey everyone, it's Hannah Fletcher. Joining me, I have Jessica Morris. Jessica, I am such a huge fan. I am so
Aw.
excited to be able to speak with you today. Now, I have a couple of different points that I want to obviously speak to you about and get to know you on a deeper level. But first of all, I want to kind of learn about your story, and I'm curious to know where your acting journey began for you. At what age did you find out that this was something that you wanted to do for what ultimately would end up being the rest of your life? I'd love for you to share your story.
Well, I would love to as well. Thank you for having me. And that's really sweet of you to say that you're a fan. I was always really shy as a kid, and I still kind of am sometimes with new people. But anyway, I was very shy. And when I first started getting into stage work, like theater plays and all that, I was around 12 years old, and people were shocked because I rarely would speak up and I didn't have much confidence. But when I got on the stage and I was playing a different character, all of a sudden, all of that just flooded into me. I was able to just, while pretending to be someone else, I had more confidence and a way to express myself. So I just kind of fell in love with it. And my first professional job was when I was 16. During the summer, I went to Tokyo, Japan to work with a modeling agent there. And while I was there, I did my first commercial, and I hated modeling. I was like, this is the worst, but because it's all based on how you look. But I loved being able to actually play and do something. And so when I did that commercial, I was like, that's it. This is what I want to do. So as soon as I graduated, I drove my car, packed up my car. I drove it out to Los Angeles. The 10 freeway goes straight from Jacksonville, Florida to LA. So I just took it all the way and just started my new life. And there's no real crazy thing that started my career. I basically just started doing it. I submitted my pictures to a bunch of people before virtual submissions were a thing. I actually did my headshot and resume and put it in an envelope into the mail and just started doing it. Learned by making mistakes, and here I am.
That is so incredible. Also, I didn't know that the 10 goes that far. So thank you for telling me
Does.
that. I'm an East Coaster, but I'm from Virginia, so I didn't realize it goes all the way out. Obviously,
Yeah,
now I'm
it's a
out
straight
there.
shot, so you can't really get lost, which is nice.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I love that you did it like the old school, old fashioned type of way. And even with you mentioning about, sending out the headshots and the resumes, front, back, glued
Mhm.
together, stapled for extra reinforcement if you need to, doing the whole thing. I think that's really great that you were able to really just authentically fall in love with the craft of acting and, coming out and making a name for yourself the way that you were able to. And ultimately that led you to Lifetime. Now, my parents, diehard Lifetime fans, like diehard Lifetime fans. My mom, one time she texted me in college. I was up at like 11 o'clock at night, and she's like, how well do you know your friends? I was like, well, they're all sleeping on my floor. Like, we're pretty close. It's fine. But it's because she's constantly watching Lifetime.
That's
Um,
fun.
I want to ask you, obviously, having the opportunity to be an actress with such a wonderful, wonderful network. And obviously, you're very well known for all of the Wrong films, all the Wrong franchise. Um, Talk to me a little bit about what it was like getting in the door with Lifetime and having the opportunity even to have, you've made so many films and especially the Wrong franchise. My parents are huge fans, so I'd have to ask. But yeah, talk to me a little bit about what that's been like and embarking on that journey, and maybe even the moment that you kind of realize like, okay, I'm going to be in films like this, and this is kind of my niche. It's my genre, but I love it. So talk to me about that.
Well, I think it is true that you kind of manifest things in life, and
Mhm.
I've done that along the way in my career very much. It's kind of a natural progression for a soap actor to go into Lifetime movies and Hallmark and all of that. I'm sure you've seen many do that. So after I got off of the soap that I was on for about 5 years, I was trying to find my place in the industry, and I thought, I would like to do some Lifetime movies. I spoke it out loud. I thought about it. And the first opportunity I had was with a director that I'd done a horror movie with, and he brought me in for, I think the first one was The Wrong Roommate.
Okay.
I think that's my first one. And I didn't realize, I guess, I was getting into this whole Lifetime world. And it's just, I don't know, it was all kind of a blur. Years later, I'm like, how many have I done? So many. And I'm just so grateful for the work that I've gotten, because they're always such fun projects too. The fun like thrillers where the woman gets to fight back. And
Definitely. I love watching them, and I love how indulged the fan base that I've noticed firsthand seems to very much get in the films. And another film that you had an opportunity to be a part of. Now, parents love Lifetime and so do I, but I'm also a huge comedy type of person. Like that's
Mhm.
where I like to sit down, unwind, and just zone out and just watch comedy films. So
Yeah.
obviously you had an opportunity to be in role models. I'd love to learn what it was like to, especially from an actor's perspective, kind of, stepping into a niche that is very comedic, especially after having been in other projects, like you mentioned, even with being in the soap realm, it's a lot more serious, different type of work. So what was it like to be a part of that cast? What do you have any outstanding memories from being a part of that movie? And also, did you expect to be in a comedic film that was going to make such an intense footprint? I feel in like the comedic movie community. There's nobody that I know that watches comedic movies that they haven't seen that particular film.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it turned out to be really funny. I liked that movie a lot. And while we were shooting it, David Wayne, the director, he was so easy to work with because he allowed you to improvise. He would feed you alternate lines like while you're in the middle of the scene. So you just had to kind of be open and flexible to play. And Sean William Scott was great to work with. He's, such an amazing comedian. And yeah, I think back to the audition process though, and I don't think it would have been okay at this day and age, the way that things are now, because when I did have to like take my top off in the role, and which I'm fine with my body, that's not a big deal. But when I think back to the audition process for the second callback, I was just reading the lines, doing the scenes, but for the second callback, I had to go in, and there was this office building with a bunch of men in suits, basically. And I had to go in, do the scene, and then basically just show them my breasts.
Oh, wow.
And like, I kind of get it because they wanted to make sure it looked good for the camera, but I just feel like that would not be okay now. They would have been like, no, you can't go in there and you can't ask her to take her top down in this room, right? Like, I don't.
Yeah, no, I feel like we've definitely come to a point, especially I have a bunch of friends that are actresses and then I have profiles myself. Anything that I've seen, I have not seen anything that will quite get you to that level. Anything that I've heard about, it's more or less like if there is any level of nudity, it's going to be like that. That's not a part of the audition process. That's handled given that you book based off of the talent that you have. And then there's an intimacy coordinator, and then you get to that.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
because I don't know what year this was made, but I guess things were a little different, and I didn't see anything wrong with it at the time.
Right.
Now I'm, oh, that was very awkward. It really was. I definitely had to have a tequila shot before that callback.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing your story in terms of that. And I'm glad that obviously, at this point we've moved forward in the direction of that hopefully not being a preliminary portion of any audition moving forward. But
Yeah.
but you did I really do appreciate your performance in the film, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I would love to switch gears. I know that you've also recently got married, and I know that the wedding was featured in People. I am such a fan of love and watching other people live their dreams through getting published through People and being able to show their beautiful weddings. It was so beautiful. Your dress was phenomenal. You looked so gorgeous. And I read about an AC/DC song. So I would love for you to give us a little bit of insight as to what your wedding was like, and also having the opportunity to be able to put it in a public way and share it with the rest of the world, which I think is such a really wonderful thing to do.
Well, yeah, my wedding was such a dream to me. It was very small, intimate. It was like 65 people.
Mm-hmm.
And, we planned it in about 4 months. He basically had proposed last December, and then in January we were like, let's have a wedding.
Oh my gosh.
So I planned it and just decided to not get too crazy with it. But I knew I wanted to have a wedding. And yeah, he did walk down the aisle to it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, because he loves that song. Yeah. And to have it publicized was great too, because we were at the point in our relationship, we had a lot of ups and downs to get where we are now. Mm-hmm. And we had a lot of just complications, I'll say, but to finally be able to publicly scream it from the rooftop to everyone. Like, I love this person, it's my soulmate. And like for us to both be able to freely do that meant so much to both of us.
That is so beautiful. I love that you guys took that approach. And like you said, I mean, you're able to share that with everybody and you're able to be like, this is my person. I think that's so lovely. And I love the fact that it was an intimate wedding as well. And you guys had that moment with each other and with your close knit family and friends. And that then you chose to be able to share what you wanted to as well. I think I love that level of privacy. And I love that level of control as well. I think that that's extremely, extremely admirable.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. And I want to ask you, I know that you have an upcoming project. I don't want you to give any spoilers or anything like that away. Just tease anything that you can. I'm not here to put you in the hot seat, but I know that you have an upcoming project that you've worked with Tom Six on. So whatever you would like to share, whatever you can share, I would love to give you the floor to be able to do so, to start to get that going and promoting it to our audience and to your audience as well.
Sure. It's called the Onanya Club, which is like a biblical term for masturbation. It's, you know, Tom Six has very, I don't know what the word would be, but very risque type films, like The Human Centipede caused a lot of different feelings in people. This one is a group of high society women in Los Angeles who have something called Schadenfreude. It's like a German kind of disorder that's makes you get pleasure from other people's pain.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of really not very nice women, like, but it's like a thing that's a compulsion that you can't help, you know? And so I played the character of this woman who's this nice Catholic wife and mom who all of a sudden starts having these feelings come up, and she finds a group of like-minded women. And then in that group setting, the women go to further and further lengths to try to please themselves by creating pain in other people. Yeah, it gets pretty ugly.
Oh, wow.
I had chills when I was shooting some of the scenes. I was like, I can't even believe I'm doing this, but it's acting. It's just acting. This is not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there anything in particular that drew you to the project? Was it the like far out concept? Was it working with Tom Six, the character, or was there anything in particular for you that drew you to this project?
I think both. I mean, I was interested in meeting him and getting to know him and working with him. And also it was kind of cool because we had like an outline of the movie, but we basically didn't have a whole script. Like we shot the whole thing improvised. Oh, wow. Which I'd never done before. And I was terrified to do this. But yeah, I would get together with the actor, my scene partner. We would discuss where we wanted the scene to go. And then we would just kind of wing it.
That's really neat.
I was really scared, but I found it incredibly freeing. You can't not be present in the moment when you don't even have written lines to fall back on. You just have to be there and react as if you would react.
That's actually really fascinating, especially with such a unique concept like that. I'd be in the same boat as you. I'd be like kind of very, very wary and borderline a little bit terrified up front. Yeah. But I think that would be the ultimate challenge. And I'm sure it was very cathartic for you from an acting standpoint as well to be able to really just kind of like surrender and just succumb to that process, and obviously relying on your castmates as well. That's huge. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you are so cool. I just want to say thank you so much for speaking with us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Do you have any piece of advice for anybody who might be an aspiring actor, actress at home, and they're looking to have the guts to be able to get on their metaphorical 10 and drive all the way out to LA and do exactly what you did and establish a career like you did? Do you have any piece of advice for those sitting at home that might be wanting to do that, but maybe don't have the ability, or maybe you're just flat out scared and they don't know where to start? What would that one piece of advice be for you, for them?
I mean, I have I don't know if it's just one piece of advice. There's so much that I've learned over the years. But I think, I don't think you should go into it thinking, oh, I want to be rich and famous, because that's where you're going to crash and burn, because it's a really hard business that even if you do really well, it goes up and down and up and down. That's just the nature of the business. So I guess getting into it just because you really love it and you have something you want to share, And if that's the case, and don't try to put yourself into a box of like making other people happy or trying to be what you think they want you to be, you know, because if the more authentic you can be, the more you're going to find the right place for yourself, and people are going to appreciate that authenticity, because that's what people want to watch. They want to watch people being real, right? Having those real moments. So I think the more you can be yourself and just stick to that, the better you're going to be.
Definitely. Well, I want to say thank you again so much for your time. Thank you for being so wonderful and just inspirational. And my parents say thank you as well. They were very excited when they found out that I was speaking with you today. So.
Thank you. You've been wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will hopefully be talking to you again soon.
Sounds good. Have a great day.